I mean, first of all, congratulations. 5 years is a pretty successful event you've got going here. Did you think that when you launched this 5 years ago, it would be as successful as it is?
I didn't have that sort of thought process in mind. We set this up for a single event originally as a one-off to encourage and help businesses, and then we discovered that when we'd finished doing it, the number of people who said, could we do it again? And I sort of said, well, of course we could do it again. And I looked at my staff and they said, 6 months' time? And
right.
The people we were talking to said, yes, please. So we did another one in 2014 and we did 45 last
Impressive,
year.
6,000 jobs and £1 billion worth of investment. I mean, that's not something to be sniffed at, is it?
It isn't. And what's really encouraging about that is that that's gone into about 931 starting and scaling businesses, and 97% of those 931 are still operating today and they're still growing. And the thing that we want to do is to help businesses grow. We don't want necessarily to pick any particular winner. That's not our job. Our job is to showcase and encourage and help people who are creating businesses, having good ideas, solving problems, finding ways to be able to either get investment or to grow it through revenue.
I just met a couple of them outside. I think they've got their 30-second pitch. They're like sort of excited puppies. They're in a palace. They're about to do, how is it best to explain this, a Dragon's Den style event?
No.
Do you not like that?
No, right. There are no dragons and no sharks here. We work collaboratively.
Yeah.
So I want everybody to work together in order to support these businesses that we are showcasing. It's a function of time for the event that we've got to reduce some below the 3 minutes. So 3 minutes is the ideal time to get somebody to pitch for. But because we've got a pretty impressive audience of people coming this evening, they've only got a certain amount of time.
Right.
So in order to get all 42 businesses, because we've got to broaden the scale to some extent, and so we've chosen the number 42 as what to go for. We've got to give everybody an opportunity to get in front of the audience, so we give them 30 seconds, but any one of the 42 could actually be voted the top one for tonight.
5 years ago, no Brexit. Now there is Brexit. We don't know quite what shape it's going to be in. Does that make any difference to what's happening in that room?
No.
None at all?
None at all. And the reason it doesn't make any difference is that we are looking principally at the creativity, ingenuity, and work that is going on in the country to create entrepreneurs. And that goes on regardless of what else is going on nationally.
That was going to be my next question. Do you think, from what you see, do you think we're the sort of entrepreneurial country that can actually survive something as big and as seismic as Brexit?
I see no reason why not. The businesses that we see could be successful either inside a large internal market or operating in an even larger external market. And so, you know, there's swings and roundabouts to all these sorts of things. But what we are creating and what we are generating as a nation through schools and universities and businesses and people finding that they have found something that they want to solve, a problem they wish to solve or a conundrum that they wish to solve, then if they want to create a business in order to do that, that carries on regardless of what other things. I mean, barring war, I suspect, and even in war, we might find even more. Do you know what I mean? This is something that will just carry on happening because the pipeline starts at primary school in order to generate entrepreneurial thinking all the way through. So, you know, it's what is actually genuinely going on in the rest of the country is pretty much irrelevant. So
what you seem to be saying is Brexit is an external factor that you think that we can, or these entrepreneurs at the very least, can work their way through, deal with.
We're going to have to.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, they're going to have to work through whatever the circumstances that there are out there.
Talking of business, you met quite a high-profile businessman last week. You had a ringside seat for the Donald Trump state visit. Give us your impressions of what you saw and the conversations that you had with him.
I was present at the business event that was held here on the Tuesday morning, and the conversations that were had were entirely constructive and positive from both President, Prime Minister, ministers on both sides, and cabinet members on both sides, and the businesses. And I got a sense that it made no difference whether we were staying in, leaving, that there was still going to be a very close relationship with the United States on a whole range of issues, not least in the business world. And I was actually very encouraged by the conversations that were had.
Do you think last week, I suppose, showed the value of state visits? Because in the ballroom of Buckingham Palace, there was Donald Trump listening to the Queen, your mother, talk to him about some very important things. I could think of few other world leaders that he would sit and listen to other than the Queen. It showed the value of state visits, didn't it?
State visits are always different. Each one you have to take on its merits, and it's largely about the characters and the people involved as to how those visits, as it were, transpire. And if the visitor comes in wanting to achieve an objective, and the hosts want to achieve an objective, then it's perfectly possible to achieve that. And I think that the visit on the widest scale showed that there is a very special relationship between the United States and the United Kingdom. We have been allies for a long time. There was a lot of history talked about in the margins between us, and it was setting, as it were, the message to everybody that the relationship is sound, is good, and we hope it will continue regardless of whether we stay in or leave the European Union.